My experience is always intellectual property protection. When you have a piece of intellectual property as a protection, and that gave you a lot more leverage to negotiate market share, negotiate cost of production, and also carve out your own niche, protect your own niche. That gives you an opportunity to slow down your competition or to fence out the knockoff, a copycat or infringement. This is if there is opportunity, if there's a creativity, try to file a legal protection.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of The Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur, now I messed up on my own word, that has built several 7- and 8-figure businesses from scratch, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where we help startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. And today we've got another great guest on, and he has a couple of guests in the background that may or may not chime in, but so we've got a bit of an entourage, which is all the better. And but the main guest we have on is Zheng, and Brian has been a bit of an inventor or an entrepreneur ever since he was in school. Majored in some industrial design, created some, what a lot of people may know is the the automotive pop-up sunshade. He was the inventor on that. That was his first product. Graduated, and then did that before he graduated. Sold off that business, and then has been launching a few businesses ever since. So, if that is an introduction, welcome onto the podcast, Brian.
Thank you very much for your invitation. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for coming on. So with that, we'll dive right in. So I gave a brief introduction, but you said, you've been an inventor basically ever since you've been in school. So maybe if you want to remember all the way back to the early school days of your invention, and let's talk a little, or pick the conversation up from there and talk a little bit about your journey.
Of course. Thank you again. I will start my my history back to the late 80s. I came to, in the mid 80s, I came to the US and to learn my English. Again, most of the audience still will able to pick up my accent, my thick Chinese accent. So therefore, I categorize myself, have a unique language called Chinglish. It's not English, it's called Chinglish. It's Chinese and English combined.
I actually lived, and I don't know that I mentioned to you, I lived in Taiwan for a couple of years. I served a religious mission for my church, and I also studied Chinese when I was in my undergraduate. So just as a common note, not that our audience would understand, but it would be fun sometime, maybe after the podcast, we can talk a bit in Chinese. So anyway.
You can always talk in Chinese with me, since I still remember my Chinese a little bit. I haven't.
I'm sure your Chinese. I'm sure your Chinese is significantly better than mine. So anyway, yes. Picking back up. Right.
And then I actually, the airplane was landed in Seattle, and I flew from Hong Kong. I crossed the border from mainland China, which is the city of Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. And then I flew to Seattle from Hong Kong. Hong Kong at the time is a developing area. A lot of vehicles, very smoggy. The entire city is very, very smoggy. The moment I landed in Seattle, shocked the hell out of me. The air so clean, the windows so clean. I look at outside of the trees and little hills, and the runway. I thought this building has no windows. So clear, so nice. So that actually is what the beautiful land of America. So clear, so nice, good air, good quality, good environment. Then I transfer myself from Seattle to Spokane. There's a school called Eastern Washington University in the city of Cheney. I start my language from over there to learn my English. And I was very fortunate to stay in an American family. The father, Alan Hale, is a retired U.S. Air Force colonel. They have 6 boys. Every boy became to my brothers. Now, even now, up to today, we still keep in touch, and we still are very good friends with the family. So I became to their part of their family. They became to part of my family. So after 2 years language, I went to Art Center College of Design in Pasadena as an industrial design major. I was able to learn how American industrial design, working with school and also working with several automotive manufacturers. They all have a studio in Los Angeles area. And I was able to work with certain car design studio as a part-time, as a internship. Then I was able to also walk into a situation in the middle of school. We're all very tired, but I can rest because the brain was so nervous. And then I was pick up the remote control watching a TV. Guess what? There is a infomercial pop up in front of me teaching people how to make a mail order business and how to do a business in the US from your own invention. What the hell? That was a Joseph Crossman, very popular in mail order. And then I was able to have a little crowdfunding from the school from the class in the school, raise a little money, approximately $365. Everybody chip in $20 and $25, and then bought the whole course. It walked you through how to make, how to form your business, how to apply your IP protection, which is utility, design pattern, trademark, and form a entrepreneur business and sell it as a mail order. At the time, it's very big, and also sell to the chain store like a Walmart, Kmart at the time, Price Club at the time, Costco, and any other Toys R Us, whatever store was. At the time, Sears is very big. That's where Americans shop, as their slogan. And then in the class, the teacher said, "You guys are creative guys. Why the hell you guys still sitting in my class? Get your ass move out my classroom and pick up one existing item you can design better and come back next week." Oh, all right, that's it. Okay, so some people pick up the stroller, some people pick up the sporting goods and automotive accessory, whatever, but they spend several $100s to buy the sample and dissect them and restudy them, design them. I was a very poor student. I don't even have money to buy samples. But the most lowest price point product I was able to pay attention and able to buy is accordion cardboard sunshade for automotive windshield. Cost me $3.99 to buy one. And then I'll say, maybe I can figure out a way to redesign this. This guy scratched the dashboard and so hard as cardboard, sometimes even generate a paper cut on the fingers of the user. And later on, they may even automatically pop up because of the memory of the cardboard while you're driving. It's not safe. So therefore, I thought maybe I should figure out something. Use this as a what not to do. So eventually I came up a pop-up sunshade, which is a 2 metal loop sewn on a nylon fabrics. And, this technology is not only, I remember my mother have a hat pop up like that when she was riding a bicycle to work. And when I was in school, I was working on other classes as a model making. I was cutting the wood, use a bandsaw. The bandsaw is a big, gigantic machine, floor up to almost 6 feet tall. And with the bandsaw blade, I was cutting my model, boom, I broke the damn things. So I had to take the bandsaw blades and go to, I went to the storage, try to check out the new bandsaw blades. And then the guy telling me use my tape to tape the sharp edge of the bandsaw, roll them up, and then dump to the trash can. When I returned to the counter to pick up the bandsaw blades, guess what? I receiving a big pizza box. I opened the box, boom, sure enough, that was a bandsaw bandsaw blades fold. It's the same way my sunshade fold. I say, man, that really able to do a collapsible feature from big oval, big gigantic, big old.
Yeah, no.
Ring.
So jumping in, so you had that, and you made the prototype, went on to build a business around it. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, and I was able to spend some money, bought the fabric from DuPont's distributor in New York, Buffalo, UPS to my dormitory, and I was able to go to downtown LA, also go to Thomas Guy. At the time, there's a manufacturer guy called Thomas Guy, figure out where to buy the loop, then ship the loop to the factory in near Chinatown, Los Angeles. And then I was able to produce 2,000 of them and then start selling in swap meet just near my factory, no, near my school in Pasadena called Pasadena Rose Bowl. Swap meet actually is in city of Pasadena, Rose Bowl. And I would start selling them, and boom, we sold out almost 2,000 pieces the first day. At the time, the price point was $20 US, while people are selling the cardboard sunshade with $4, $5 price point. Wow, that was very encouraging. Ever since that, the product launched, I was able to learn how to make commercial packaging. Then I started selling in FECO at that point. That was a nice store of local chain as a membership store. And then I was able to sell to every mail order, Brookstone and Shopper Image at the time, and Hammaker Schremer, Starcrest, and
so maybe you jump in this. So you build a business, you have the idea, is part of industrial design school. You come up with the idea, hey, let's make this foldable. Then we also, you figure out how to produce it, you get enough funds together, you leverage the knowledge of, you go out, start selling them on the street or, kind of a local area. I think that's awesome. And you're able to slowly grow it from there, do a mail order, get it in some stores. And so now if I were to fast forward, so, you grow the business, and I think you mentioned at one point, even the first year it was a multi-million dollars in sales. So where did you leave off? Or when did you continue to own that today? Did you sell off the company, or how did you go to the next leg of your journey?
After 3 years of success selling automotive accessory, which is where I categorize, where the sunshade categorized at, and the automotive aftermarket industry is rather small in terms of accessory. We're not categorized as the rim of the tire or bumpers or fenders. Interior accessories very small. So I sold the business. I launched a new company called Playhut, use the same technology, but not making shades, but making children play tent.
So we'll jump to that. So one question I have is, it sounds like for those 2 or 3 years, it was a fairly successful business, had a lot of good sales. What made you decide to, wind that business down and to get out of it and go on to a new business? What was the motivation for that transition?
We were able to make the highest number we were doing is $16 million highest sales number we were generated. And the first year we were able to generate $7 million just by not knowing business. It's all because of product. Product is king. If the product being recognized by the market, take a dummy like me in business while I was still in school, try to finish my master degree. It flies. Along the way, I make shitloads of mistakes. As a designer, as a design school student, I know nothing about business. When the product was selling so hot in Costco and Price Club, and the buyer was screaming on the phone, "You better airship them. I ran out of my inventory. Your product flying off the shelf. It's all your fault." I say, "My God, it's all my fault." Okay, I am taking this as a criticism or encouragement. I am going to fly 7 container, 40-foot container with airship to deliver to you. My God, that was cost me arm and leg, wipe out the almost half year's profit. But again, the reason I like to design to sell that is in the automotive industry, Sunshade area, there's more than 9 different knockoff company exist. I filed 9 lawsuits the first year I'm in business. I don't even know how can I pay the lawyer working so hard for me to sue everybody. And then such a small industry, so many knockoffs, I think I better sell this to someone who have a better experience in legal litigation. Let him kiss around with the knockoffs, and then I would like to take the cash, and then I go to establish another business. That's the reason.
No, that makes sense. So if I were to almost summarize, it's basically you're saying, hey, we were being successful, it was growing, but as we were getting more traction in the marketplace, we started to see knockoffs, people that were copying it. And while you initially tried to do go the legal route, knockoffs continued to grow, became to the point you're saying, hey, this isn't the bit. I don't want to be in the suing business, or I don't want to be in the always chasing knockoffs. Why don't I get out while the getting is still good, or why we still have good sales, we can get a good value for the company, and then you go on to the next adventure. So I think one of the next adventures that kind of caught my eye, or that we talked a little bit before about the podcast, was that you did an action figure that Bluetooth connected with an iPad. Is that right?
Yes. That was when the mobile internet able to utilize Apple smartphone, Android smartphone. And kids are no longer interested into ordinary playpen or ordinary action figure. Besides, couple parts of body can move. Basically, there's no interactive. So therefore, the interactive industry jumping into the mobile industry, every 5 years old, 4 years old, are able to get an iPad or a cheap iPhone in their palm, in their hand, to play interactive apps. So therefore, the toy industry, as we all recognize, they're dying ever since the younger generation, younger kids able to get their hands on the iPad. And then we designed the toys interact with a bridge. The bridge interact with iPad. So when the toys come into the bridge, the character pop up from the iPad app or from the mobile app, whether it's iPad or iPhone or Android smart device. So that's entertaining the kids. So we actually was able to develop the app game, able to develop the technology, able to launch the product in Toys R Us and Amazon.
That's awesome. No, I think that's, so it's interesting because I know we're only jumped into a few of the companies, because you mentioned, you did the pop-up sunshade, and then you did one, the company was called Play Hut, and then you did the action figure, and you even got into doing emails, you know, integrating video and audio products into emails. And that now brings you to where you're at today with focusing on, you know, mobile internet and how you're doing some of the things with Mad Kicks, as you can see in the background, and others. But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of different industries, a lot of different technology, and a lot of different products that you've done. So was there kind of a guiding path that, you know, that kind of how you decided which next business to go to? Or is it just, hey, I have a great idea and I'm going to pursue it? Or how did you kind of decide which business as you jump, you know, move from business to business and transition as to which one was your next business?
There's a two major reason allow me or help me to decide to get into various industry. First of all, every product line, every product or product line or product concept, or I was able to be a little creative to take advantage, to analyze the market and find out, and then doing pattern research to find out if there is a way to protect myself in a legal way to, by utilizing the USPTO services, and I can use intellectual property protection to protect the idea. So that is one thing. So therefore, whether it's automotive sunshade or Playtime Play Hut or the Izuka smart device communicate with Bluetooth and RFID chip to interact with the app, and even today's MacKicks all has intellectual property protections. We filed a patent 2 months ago just to protect MacKicks. So that's one reason. Every industry I want to get into it has its own protection, a advantage I can take, which is a great country. America is respect the intellectual property, have a great legal system to protect invention and protect inventors. So that is why Americans so good, and I decide to spend my lifetime stay in this country. It's a beautiful country to support innovation, support creativity, and protect the innovation, protect the creativity. So that's a sidetrack. And the second reason I'm going to it, to the industry I'm choosing it, I'm no longer focus my energy, my resource into a traditional product, but more high-tech related, more technology related, more internet and mobile internet related. Which is where everybody going after as a trend or direction. Yes.
Okay, no, I think that makes sense of the different guiding principles. So now as we were to jump forward in time just a little bit, so you've had several of your different companies, whether started in all the way in the school, and this is an interesting parallel. That's when I was doing, and it wasn't in industrial design, but I was in MBA school. That's when I started my first business as well. So I always applaud and think it's a great thing to, while you're in school, not just simply learn, but also to actually start a business and get to some real world and practical applications as opposed to simply just going through classes. So I think that's great. So you started out with the Pop Shade, went through several businesses, brings you up to Mad Kicks. You're saying, hey, why don't you're going to enter into the mobile internet. And so maybe if you can just share a little bit, you know, a couple minutes on what is Mad Kicks, what are you guys doing, and how did you make that transition into the mobile industry?
Okay, the mobile industry is also related to video technology. Ever since I start my video mail and via the internet, that's already video related and also internet related. Although I sold the technology to the company, I do have a contract obligation. I shouldn't be in this industry for a little bit near around 10 years. Now the contract obligation is long gone. After 2018, now I can start my business. So 2019, I was able to figure out some sort of concept, but not quite knowing what I need to do. So at that time, I have a Corey and I have a James, which is my CTO, and Corey is my CMO, to try to launch, get into mobile or internet business. So by learning together, by working together, they were able to help me to identify several success mobile app can really be populated by the video. Okay, although YouTube is video and Facebook and all these popular Instagram and Snapchat now into already all go into video. But the video is a way to go, whether short form, long form, educational, entertainment, or any other form and shape, video is the way to go. So I was able to utilize my knowledge about video and figure out if TikTok or other short form video can occupy the landscape of the market less than 3 years. That must be a huge demand. Although there is a lot of big giants, whether it's Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, whatever, everybody want to dive in this industry. But they all dive in because someone's successful. Just let us make a copycat out of these, which is not what MacKick's doing. MacKick's owned by a company called Asha LLC. We plan to develop 6 apps. 4 of them all related to video technology. We are able to share the back end, share the resource with these 4 apps together. So that will save our development time. But each app, we have niche focus. Some are focused on short form video sharing. Some are focused on video communication. Some are focused on different area. MacKick is the app we plan to launch first. They're not only sharing the short form video, but sharing the music, sharing the picture, and sharing the creativity. So we basically build a so-called creators community to borrow the intelligence, borrow the creativity from open forum, open community, chip in to build our content. Not just after I build my content, I upload it and everybody go to view, ha ha ha, they make thumb down or thumb up, that's it. But we have our unique patented feature. We'll inject it in this app, will make it rather unique, will make it different. But again, also very much available to the general public. Everybody can be here and can be a contributor, creator, or viewer, or able to do the social networking together.
Okay, no, I think that's sounds like an exciting product. And one thing I find interesting, you talked a little bit about, niching down or having different, kind of different products. Video is your space, and you're going to, use video on the mobile platform, but you're niching down. It's interesting because I obviously like podcasts, run my own, but I also like to listen to them a lot. And I was listening to one that was a recent, it's on a podcast called Business Wars. And they went actually through the mobile industry, but for dating apps, right? So you have a whole bunch of different dating apps in the mobile industry. And it started out being a very broad industry. It was just dating in general. And now, I've been married for 13 years. So honestly, I have no idea what's going on in the dating industry. But they talked about how, they have ones that, apps that are now niched down for people that want to date dog lovers, people that want to date, they had everyone example, or people that are clowns for an employment. They had, almost every type of niche, and they were, made, I think, in a great argument. Is kind of what you're saying is, hey, if there's a big industry where a lot of people are using it, then you can find a lot of good niches within that industry that suit certain needs that people need it. So I think that was an interesting correlation of how you're saying, hey, video is going to be very big. It's not going away. It's continuing to grow. If TikTok and others have built big companies on it, let's now find the niches that they're overlooking and aren't doing as well, or underserved communities and doing that. So I think that's awesome. Well, as we always have more things to do and more things to talk about and discuss than I ever have time for in the podcast. We're starting to hit towards the end of the podcast, but I always have 2 questions that I always hit on it towards the end of the podcast. So maybe we'll jump to those now. So the first question I always ask is, so what was the worst business decision you ever made?
Oh my God. I wasn't prepared for that answer for the question. I have a worst position, the business decision I made is make the decision to continue to ship to supply to Toys R Us while after they file Chapter 11. And then after they eventually went to Chapter 7, millions and millions and millions of dollars of inventory, I can never get paid. Ouch! That was, oh my God, thank you.
That sounds both like a big hit and one that it's a lesson learned that if they're going through bankruptcy, it's probably time to pull the plug.
Oh my God, but well, they were the last so-called chain store around the nation. At the time, they still have 670 stores around the nation in the US, and they said they needed support. We're not going away. We are under our reorganization a stage. So trust us, support us. I said, okay, because they are, they were my 40% of business. So therefore, I keep supplying them, boom, multi-million dollar being wiped out.
But you say that, and I think that's an interesting, I guess, trap, for lack of a better word, to fall into is, hey, they're a big client. You need, I want to support them. I don't want them to go away, and I don't want to, offend them, or I don't want them to take their business elsewhere if they're not going under, if they're coming back. And so, kind of, hey, they're a big client. I wanted to keep them happy. And so it's a hard one to know when to pull the plug. So I think that's a good lesson learned, or, an interesting mistake made. So as I jump now to the second question I always ask is, so if you're talking to someone that's just getting into startups and small businesses, just starting out, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
My experience is always intellectual property protection. When you have a piece of intellectual property as a protection, and that gave you a lot more leverage to negotiate market share, negotiate cost of production, and also carve out your own niche, protect your own niche. That gives you a opportunity to slow down your competition, or to fence out the knockoff, a copycat, or infringement. This is if there is opportunity, if there's a creativity, try to file a legal protection to protect. And even the bank sometimes will respect you to have intellectual property, and then they even have different loan structure, depends on which bank you have. Still, those are very, very important to small entrepreneur.
No, and hey, you're preaching to the choir. So I don't ever interject with telling whether you need a patent or trademark within the podcast, in the sense that I don't want to interject with their story, but I'm in complete agreement that you can both get a better valuation, you can protect your business, you can box out other competitors, and there's a lot of advantages for intellectual property. So you're preaching to the choir on that one. So, well, as we wrap up, if people want to find out more about your businesses, about Mad Kicks, or anything else that's going on, they want to invest, they want to buy your product, they want to work for you, or anything or all of the above, what's the best way to connect with you or reach out to you?
My email address is brianz@azuca.com. Azuca is a corporation I own, and also running the business for us. Or you can go to arcia.llc.com, ARCIA.llc.com, to reach out us. We not only me, our whole management team will be able to catch the email communication, or just simply dial a number for 909-319-7877. I have no privacy in terms of my phone number. 24/7, the phone able to ring. If I'm not picking up, leave message or scream, yell at me, ask me to return phone call, I will do so.
All right. Well, that's all sorts of great ways, as well as madkicks.com, as well as I think is your website.
Yes.
All of the above are, I think, great ways to reach out to you. So, well, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been fun to hear a bit of your journey, what brought you to where you're at today, and certainly it'll be fun to see where the next leg of your journey is. For those of you that are have your own journey to tell, feel free to apply to be on the podcast by going to inventivejourneyguest.com. We always welcome interesting and fun journeys to hear. And certainly if you're a listener, make sure to click subscribe so you get the notifications when all this episode and all the new episodes air. And lastly, if you need any help with patents and trademarks, feel free to reach out to us at Miller IP Law. We're always here to help. Thank you again, Brian. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun to hear your journey, and good luck on the next leg of your journey.
Well, thank you very much. Keep in touch, Devin.
Will do.